If you've been told you're highly sensitive or an empath, but you also have a dark side that doesn't fit the stereotype, if you can feel others' emotions deeply, but you're also drawn to shadow, taboo, and darkness, you might not be a standard HSP. You might be what I call a dark empath. And here's what nobody tells you: the darkness isn't a flaw in your sensitivity. It's the other half of the gift. Today, I'm revealing why some highly sensitive people are actually dark empaths, the shadow abilities that come with this trait, and why your darkness makes you more powerful, not less. Because here's the truth: standard empath content talks about protecting your energy and setting boundaries. Dark empath content is about weaponizing your sensitivity and using your shadow as medicine. Let's talk about the gift they won't acknowledge. Let me clarify the distinctions, because these terms are used interchangeably even though they're different. Highly sensitive person, HSP, a biological trait where your nervous system processes information more deeply. You notice subtleties others miss. You're easily overwhelmed by stimulation. This is about sensory processing, not necessarily emotions. HSPs aren't automatically empathic. Some are deeply empathic. Others just have sensitive nervous systems and don't particularly attune to others' emotional states. Empath. Someone who doesn't just recognize emotions intellectually, you feel them in your body. When someone near you is anxious, you become worried. When they're sad, sadness fills you. When they're angry, anger rises in you. Standard empaths tend to feel drained by negative emotions, avoid conflict because it absorbs the discord, struggle with boundaries because they merge with others, get overwhelmed in crowds, need extensive alone time to recover from social interaction. Standard empath content focuses on protection, boundaries, grounding, and self-care. Dark empath. A highly sensitive empath who also possesses shadow awareness and darker capabilities that standard empath content doesn't address. Dark empaths feel others' emotions, but can also manipulate them, absorb energy, but can also project it strategically, see through facades and can use that sight, feel others' pain but aren't necessarily motivated to relieve it, can weaponize their sensitivity when needed, are drawn to shadow, taboo, and psychological darkness. The key difference: standard empaths feel overwhelmed by their sensitivity and seek protection. Dark empaths recognize their sensitivity as power and learn to wield it. Standard empaths ask, how do I shield myself from others' energy? Dark empaths ask, how do I use my ability to read and influence energy? This doesn't make dark empaths evil or manipulative, though some are. It makes them aware of the full spectrum of their capabilities, including the shadow side. Most highly sensitive people who feel incomplete or misrepresented by standard HSP content are actually dark empaths who haven't been given framework for their shadow abilities. Let me show you the abilities dark empaths have that standard empath content doesn't address. If you recognize 3 or more of these, you're probably a dark empath, not just an HSP. Shadow ability 1. Emotional manipulation, even when you don't mean to. You don't just feel emotions. You can influence them, often unconsciously. You walk into a room and shift the mood without saying anything. People calm down around you or become more anxious depending on what you're projecting. You can make someone feel guilty, excited, attracted, or uncomfortable through subtle energetic cues. Standard empaths absorb emotional states. Dark empaths can transmit them. This happens whether you intend it or not, because you're essentially an emotional broadcaster. When you're anxious, people around you become anxious. When you're angry, tension fills the space. When you're seductive, people feel drawn to you. The dark part. Once you realize this capability, you can use it strategically. You can walk into a negotiation and project confidence that influences the outcome. You can diffuse conflict by broadcasting calm. You can create attraction by projecting specific emotional frequencies. This isn't manifestation or law of attraction. This is direct energetic influence on others' emotional states through your empathic broadcasting. Most dark empaths discover this ability through noticing patterns. People consistently respond to you in ways that match your internal emotional state, even when you're not expressing it outwardly. Shadow ability 2. Seeing through performance to truth. You don't just sense what people are feeling. You see what they're hiding. You read micro-expressions, energetic signatures, and unconscious reveals that expose the gap between what people present and what they actually feel. This makes you nearly impossible to lie to. You feel the dissonance, able to see through spiritual bypassing and fake positivity, aware of others' shadow even when they're not uncomfortable at parties where everyone's performing niceness. Standard empaths sense emotional states. Dark empaths sense what's being suppressed beneath the surface presentation. The dark part. You can use this to exploit vulnerabilities. You see exactly where someone's insecure, what they're ashamed of, what they desperately want. You could use that information to manipulate, seduce, or control. Whether you do or not is a choice. But the capability exists. And pretending you don't have this ability doesn't make it go away. It just makes you unconscious about how you're already using it. Shadow ability 3. Absorbing and transmuting energy. Standard empaths absorb others' emotions and get overwhelmed. Dark empaths absorb emotions and can transmute them. You take in someone's anxiety and can either let it overwhelm you, what untrained dark empaths do, process it through your system and release it, transform, convert it to a different emotional frequency and project it back. This is alchemical empathy. You're not just a sponge, you're a transformer. The dark part. You can absorb someone's confidence and leave them feeling drained. You can absorb someone's joy and leave them feeling empty. You can take energy without permission. Untrained dark empaths do this unconsciously and wonder why people feel exhausted after interacting with them. Trained dark empaths do this consciously and ethically, taking with permission, transmuting with intention, returning energy transformed. Shadow ability 4. Existing comfortably in darkness. Standard empaths are often light workers who focus on positivity, healing, and raising vibration. Dark empaths are comfortable in shadow, trauma, and psychological darkness. You're not disturbed by others' trauma. You can hear it without flinching. Dark thoughts and taboo desires, yours or others, death, decay, and destruction. You understand them as natural, the shadow side of spirituality and human nature. This makes you the friend people confess their darkest secrets to, the therapist, healer, or guide who can hold space for shadow work, the person who isn't shocked by humanity's capacity for darkness, comfortable with aspects of yourself that others would shame. Standard empaths want to heal and transcend darkness. Dark empaths understand darkness as half of wholeness, not something to eliminate. The dark part. Your comfort with darkness can enable toxic people who mistake your acceptance for approval. Or you can become fascinated by darkness in ways that pull you into unhealthy patterns. Your ability to exist in shadow without flinching is a gift, but it requires boundaries. Shadow Ability 5. Using your empathy as weapon when necessary. This is the ability standard empath content never addresses because it doesn't fit the empaths are gentle, loving beings narrative. Dark empaths can weaponize their empathic abilities when needed, reading someone to find their exact vulnerabilities, projecting emotions that destabilize or control, withdrawing empathic presence as punishment, leaving someone feeling unseen, using emotional insight to manipulate outcomes. Most dark empaths have done this at least once and felt disturbed by their own capacity for emotional warfare. The question isn't whether you have this capability. If you're a dark empath, you do. The question is, when is it appropriate to use it? And when does using it betray your integrity? If you recognize 3 or more of these shadow abilities, comment Dark Empath below. Most highly sensitive people have been told they're too sensitive or too intense, but you're not too much. You're a dark empath, and that's a completely different frequency. If you've read standard empath content and felt like something was missing, here's why. Standard empath frameworks are incomplete. They address the light half of empathic ability, but ignore the shadow half. Standard empath content says, protect your energy, wear crystals, visualize shields, set boundaries, say no, limit exposure to draining people, ground yourself, walk barefoot, connect with nature, clear your field, sage, salt baths, meditation. This advice assumes empathic ability is primarily a vulnerability to be managed. But for dark empaths, empathic ability is primarily power to be wielded. Protection and boundaries matter, but they're not the main story. Dark Empath. Reality. Your sensitivity is a strategic advantage. Your ability to read people is valuable. Your capacity to influence emotional fields is power. Your comfort with shadow is rare and useful. Your empathic abilities can be weaponized when necessary. The standard empath framework would have you cowering from energy, constantly protecting yourself, afraid of others' emotions overwhelming you. The dark empath framework has you recognizing your capabilities, training your abilities, and using them consciously and ethically. Why the difference matters. If you're a dark empath following standard empath advice, you'll feel weak because you're treating power as vulnerability, incomplete because you're ignoring half your nature, confused because the advice doesn't match your experience, frustrated because you're capable of more than just surviving your sensitivity. You're not a wounded empath who needs protection. You're a powerful dark empath who needs training. Here's the question dark empaths eventually face. Just because you can manipulate, read, and influence others emotionally, should you? Let me be clear, dark empathy isn't inherently good or evil. It's a set of capabilities. How you use them determines whether you're serving or harming. Unethical dark empath uses emotional manipulation for personal gain without regard for others, exploits vulnerabilities they detect, takes energy without permission or reciprocation, uses their abilities to control, seduce, or harm, justifies manipulation as giving people what they want. Ethical dark empath uses emotional influence consciously and with integrity, respects others' emotional autonomy even when they could violate it, takes energy only with permission and transmutes it as service, uses shadow abilities for healing, protection, or necessary boundary enforcement, maintains accountability for the power they wield. The difference isn't in having the capabilities, it's in the consciousness with which you use them. The Dark Empath's Code 1. Awareness. Acknowledge your full capabilities, including shadow abilities. Unconscious use of power is more dangerous than conscious wielding. 2. Consent. Don't manipulate people's emotions without their awareness or permission. If you're influencing someone's emotional state, they should know and agree. Exception: protection. If someone is actively harming you or others, using your Dark Empath abilities defensively is appropriate. You don't need permission to protect yourself or others from abuse. 3. Reciprocity. If you absorb someone's energy, transmute and return it or offer something in exchange. Don't just take. 4. Integrity. I use your abilities in ways that align with your values. If manipulation would violate your integrity, don't do it even if you could get away with it. 5. Service. Your dark empathic abilities are most powerful when used in service to others' healing and growth, not just your own benefit. This doesn't mean you have to be a healer or therapist. It means when you use your power, it should serve more than just your ego's wants. If you're a dark empath, your sensitivity is untrained power. Here's how to develop conscious control. Practice 1. Emotional broadcasting control. Become aware of what you're projecting. Throughout your day, notice your emotional state and observe how it affects people around you. Then practice deliberately shifting your broadcast. Project calm in a tense situation. Project confidence in an uncertain moment. Project warmth when meeting someone new. This isn't fake. You're consciously choosing which aspect of your emotional range to emphasize and broadcast. Practice 2. Reading without reaction. When you detect someone's hidden emotion or see through their performance, practice noticing without immediately responding or absorbing. Create distance between perception and reaction. You can see someone's fear without becoming afraid. You can sense someone's anger without becoming angry. This skill prevents you from being hijacked by what you read in others. Practice 3. Energetic boundaries with flexibility. Instead of constant shielding, which cuts you off from your empathic ability, practice boundaries you can open and close consciously. In safe situations, open and allow empathic connection. In unsafe situations, close and protect yourself. The power is in the conscious choice, not in permanent shielding. Practice 4. Shadow integration. Your dark empathic abilities are strongest when you've integrated your own shadow. If you're afraid of your capacity for manipulation, you'll unconsciously manipulate while telling yourself you're not. Own your shadow capacities. Acknowledge you could harm. Choose not to. That conscious choice is more ethical than denial of capability. Practice 5. Transmutation training. When you absorb someone's heavy emotion, practice feeling it fully without resisting, running it through your system, consciously transmuting it, heavy to light, fear to courage, anger to clarity, releasing it transformed. This is alchemy. You're not just managing your sensitivity. You're using it as a transformational tool. If you've been told you're highly sensitive or empathic, but you also have a dark side, capacities for manipulation, comfort with shadow, and abilities that standard empath content doesn't address, you're not broken. You're a dark empath. Your darkness isn't a flaw in your sensitivity. It's the other half of your power. Standard empaths feel and heal. Dark empaths feel, transmute, and wield. The question isn't whether you have these shadow abilities. If you recognized yourself in this video, you do. The question is, will you develop them consciously and use them ethically, or will you pretend they don't exist while unconsciously wielding power? Your dark, empathic nature is a gift. It allows you to hold space for others' darkness without flinching, see truth beneath performance, influence emotional fields for healing or protection, transmute heavy energy into medicine, exist in shadow as comfortably as in light. In the comments, share which shadow ability you recognize most strongly in yourself. And if you're a dark empath who's been trying to fit into standard HSP frameworks, I see you. You're not too much. You're exactly right for what you're here to do. If this video helped you understand your sensitivity as power rather than vulnerability, subscribe for more content on dark spiritual abilities. My next video explores the dark feminine awakening and what it means when your shadow goddess rises. You're not a wounded empath. You're a dark empath. And that's infinitely more powerful.